Hello and welcome to another little short Velbus training video. In this one we're going to be showing you a basic lighting rig with the 4 lighting circuits. It's currently fitted with a 4-channel relay. It's all working. Nothing unsurprising there. And what we're going to be doing is swapping it over for a new Finder dimmers. These are the single DIN 400 watt trailing edge, leading edge or CFL dimmers. And we're going to be driving that off of a VMB4DC. So let's get ahead and connect up. As you can see from Velbus link, I've already connected, I've already scanned, I've read all the settings off of there. What we have to do now is physically change over to the dimmer. So let's shut it all down and have a look inside. So as you can see, I've taken the cover off and I'm just going to talk you through what's in here already. So we've got a natural idea of where the progression goes. Clearly this is all switched off, it's all powered down. So we have the 4 circuits coming in, which you can see here. I've got them labelled as downlight, pendant 3, pendant 2 and pendant 1. And they are all going into their respective live and neutral connections on the relay with the power coming in at the bottom. This all changes with a Finder dimmer because they don't have a large enough connection for putting multiple neutrals in. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using the neutral buzz bar at the top exactly as you'd expect to use it. So I've taken the relay out, that's gone, and what I'm left with, as you'd expect, is the 4 tails from the various circuits, and I've got my live and neutral into the bottom of the relay patch, as you can see here. I'm going to be moving this neutral up to the neutral rail, bringing all of the neutrals from the tails in up to the neutral bar, and then we'll be linking the lives across to the bottom of the dimmers. So there we are. I've taken out the relay, I've put the neutrals up to the neutral rail and secured them all, so I know that side of the circuit's all safe, and we're left with the 4 live tails, and I've got a live feed in I'm going to use for the dimmers. Now it's entirely up to you whether you want to use breakers per dimmer. That's down to your risk assessment and the decisions that you make for your installation. All I'm doing is here is showing you the schematic to get it working. So I've taken the relay out, got some dimmers in there. Let's have a closer look and see what's going on. So convention dictates that we put the neutrals in first to secure the return path, but there's something to be aware of with the Finder dimmers. They do have live and neutral in along the top row and then live only out along the bottom. So if you follow convention as I have and put the neutrals in first, you will be blocking the access to the screw for at least one side of the live out. So I'm going to carry on securing the live first, then I'm going to do the tails, and then I'm going to apply power. But just a heads up, you may want to go against convention. Okay then, so the relay's gone, we've got the dimmer in, got the 4 DCs in. Let's have a closer look at what we're up to so far. Real recap, I've got the neutrals in on the input side. Remember there's no current here, so it's just a reference. And at the bottom, I've got the live side of my assets all nicely labelled and coming out of one of the 2 connections at the bottom. While we're here, probably best to have a look at the 10 volt side. It's not going to be clear on video, so please do download the pictures and images and get a closer look at what we're doing. We've got C- or the common 0 volt coming out of the 4DC, and that's going across to each and every one of the Y in. It's marked as, if you have to look very close, it's on the right hand side. It's minus Y in, minus Y in, minus Y in and minus Y in. And I've just linked each one across quite happily. Then from the 1, 2, 3, 4 outputs here, single core. So single core from number 1, I've used a red wire right the way to plus V in on this module. Pin 2, I've used a green one right the way through to plus Y in on the second dimmer. So rinse and repeat, third one and fourth one coming across here, and that's what will take care of it. But say, look at the drawings, it makes much more sense when you can see it that way. So now I'm going to terminate the live side. Right then, we're getting very, very close to the fun part of moving the software. So let's move this along nice and quickly. But before we do, there is something you need to do before you apply power to any of these Finder dimmers, and that's to make sure they are set for what you want and your lamps require. Now, these are all Crompton Duo Dim lamps. above, and I'm told they're happy with leading edge or trailing edge, which is a good thing because these Finder dimmers can deliver either. In fact, they can deliver 3 versions. We've got them currently set in trailing edge, which is the modern way of dimming mains replacements. Not my favourite lamp, but you know, that's not what we're here for. We've also got leading edge, so if you've got some CFL lamps or just lamps that prefer leading edge dimming, that's that setting. And if you've got some power, like wire wound transformers between the dimmer and the output, so you've got old school, then there's another feature, another click setting for wire wound transformers. So I've double checked that yes, these are all set to trailing edge. There's a little lamp symbol on the front there. See in this diagram here, you can see the top, it says trailing edge with a lamp. You've got a CFL symbol here for leading edge, and then the one at the bottom here says leading edge plus. So that's for wire wound transformers. Okay, there's also a nice little feature on here. Those of you who remember in the 4DCs and the dimmers, there's an enhanced setting where you can set the minimum dim value. That is set on these mechanically with a little adjustment here. Probably best to start off with them at their lowest, and then what that means is you've still got full digital control of setting the lowest value in the 4DCs. But you might have reasons to do otherwise, but just saying, heads up, make sure they're set to the minimum value. Okay, so we've got live all in the bottom here. So I've got 10 volt in the top there. Let's look at the bottom of the unit. So as you can see, it's got a little bit crowded down here, which is why I wanted to get the tails of the live side of the fixtures in first before I started putting the live supply in. Now, one thing to be aware of, and it is down to your design and what you want to do. I know on this rig, I've only got 5 watts, 5 watts per fixture. Even the downlight is only 5 watts. So my combined load on this is negligible, 20 watts. It's nothing. But if you're loading up each circuit more, you may want to put a breaker in line. Again, it's down to your risk assessment. All we're doing here is just showing you how to get them working. Right, let's get some power on. Let's get the software up and let's get it working. Well, this is the bit everyone's actually been looking forward to. So if you've leapt ahead to this point from the beginning, welcome to the video. Let's have a look and see where we are. Now, one thing you do need to do when you're commissioning systems, as we always recommend with Velbus, before you go anywhere near the software, make sure your circuits are working. Now, what I particularly like about these Finders is you can test them using the 4DC. You can remove the 10 volt power and they'll come to full brightness. And there's little indicator lights. So let's have a look at those before we go any further. What you'll see here is just an occasional flash, nothing too deliberate. But what that tells us is that we have a load present and we have 0 volt being sent from the dimmer. So what that means is it's actually acknowledged the fact there is a 4DC connected to it, and it can reference the voltage and it knows it needs to be off. Very important. There's alarm status, and as you'll see we go through, there's a dimming status as well. So one thing to bear in mind is when you first power these units up, because the 4DC takes a little bit of time just to fire up, and as with Velbus stuff, we're talking 5 seconds, 6 seconds, you will get a full discharge from the lamps. Not a major issue, but just something to be aware of when you're configuring. So let's have a look. You've wired your assets in. We're not going to worry about the light switches for the moment, but as with all things, you need to know before you get to the software that what you think you've done is what you've actually done. So with the cover off of the 4DC, and you can either just press the lamp, it'll dim up to full power, and as you can see, that first one there is dimming for a bit longer, a bit brighter, just to tell you that there's a load on. And if we come out a bit, we can see that yes, one of the lamps is on. So let's just switch that off. Now we can press it and release it, and that'll dim it down. But if we press and hold, it'll now take up a nice slow dim on that circuit, and you can see it's working. So yes, circuit 2 is working, circuit 3, oh, that's circuit 4, I pressed the wrong button, and circuit 3. So we can now say categorically, yes, all things are what we think they are, and they're all fine. So let's start the fun bit. Let's start with the software. No, I'll tell you the other way of doing it. If you want be quick, is to just scan this module. There you go, and it's up. Now, what we have got, of course, is the fact that that is not present. So we now need to move all of these actions from the relay to the dimmer to retain the functionality. So let's name them, shall we? So we can do that. We can go pendant 1, pendant 2, pendant 3, and as you can see, really straightforward. It's exactly the same as everything, just rename them. And we can do the module as well if you want. Finder group 1. Right, so that's nicely done. So let's see about dragging some actions across. What we can do is we can click on here. If we click and drag, we get without the plus, which means we are using the relay to control the dimmer, which is not what we want. What we actually want is to copy the actions. So hold down the control key whilst holding down the left-hand mouse button, let go of the mouse, and it says, do you want to copy? Yes! Compatible with coming in the other direction. Off, off, and off. So that's actually an interesting thing to pop up. What it's told us there is we can move the off action, but it's not supporting the toggle action because the toggle action for a dimmer is a different number. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the others anyway, because I do want the all off action to be retained. And then I'll show you how to add the dimmer one. And it's exactly the same as we have done all the times before. So a nice quick yes, yes. I love the fact that Velbus does this. It's kind of those little pop-ups, just let you know if something's unexpected. So we have got a toggle there on that one. So let's go and change. This is what I actually intended it to do. So what have I got instead there? Ah, start-stop timer. Ah, that's why, because previously I had a start-stop timer and not a toggle. That's an interesting thing to learn. Right, so let's go back and do exactly what I was going to do to start with. So I verbatim copied the downlight from the relay to the downlight to the dimmer. So nothing unusual. That's something toggle off and on and off. I'm going to leave that exactly as it is. So let's do pendant 1, drag it over the top of pendant 1 dimmer, and we'll do the same toggle. Pendant 2 over the top of pendant 2, and a toggle. And you'll see it's auto-populating the possible combinations. 3, toggle, done. And just for good measure, we'll remove that module because that no longer is valid in our thing. So that was it. Let's synchronize those, synchronize the changes. Nothing to write to the glass panel. And all we're doing is we're updating this 4DC to say, watch out for these button events. But because this is the first time going in, and the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice I didn't do a address changing because it wasn't a fresh module. So we've written that to the bus. So what we should now have is a simple toggle on each of these. And you see multiple button presses. As I saw someone do the other day, we can do that. We can go all off. So all of those actions are now working. The all off on there works. And the downlights work. But toggling on and off isn't really a great deal of fun. What we need, the whole point of fitting a dimmer is to dim things. So we've got these, in here we can see we've got the toggle action. Let's double click it and we're going to turn it into a dim at long press and toggle at short press. And I'm going to leave the duration because why not? There, double click the action, dim at long press, toggle at short press. Change this to a dim at long press, toggle at short press, dim at long press, toggle at short press. Okay, we can highlight all of those and I can just quickly scan through and go, yep, that is all what I thought I was doing. Yep, and synchronize this. And there we go, that's all done. So now I can go back to my first page. I can dim up slowly. I can dim down. just like this. Now these dimmers are set to, by the looks of it, that's set to an 8 seconds. So you might want to be aware that there is an option. Oh, that's 4 seconds. Okay, so it was set to 4 seconds and it was linear and it was a 0 to 10 volt. So let's change that to, yep, that's now across the board. That's everything to me. So I'm going to change it to an 8 second dim. So this says whenever the press and hold function, the dim, it's now going to take 8 seconds to go from full to bot. So we'll switch that one off, we'll switch that one off. But if I press and hold that, it's now going to take 8 seconds to get from nothing to full. And if I highlight, yeah, actually you can see it on the screen there. So that's actually not even at full power, that's at 78. So if I press down, we can see it slowly being reported as going down, and you can see the corresponding light level with the dim. Go up again. Now let's do it with the down light as well, just to see a difference. So this will be the fourth one on the screen, and you'll see that takes a bit of time to respond because it's a mains replacement LED. And not a massive difference when we go from about 80% upwards. So let's bring it down and see what happens. And I've got quite a bit of light on in here, so hopefully the iris and the camera will stay closed. Yep, there we go. Okay, so that's a simple way of changing a relay into dimmers. We've moved them from toggle actions to dim and toggling, depending on the short press and long press. But of course, and one of the points of fitting dimmers is you want to create scenes. So let's go back to Velbus Link. I'm going to add a button. Yeah, I'm going to add a group of buttons, but to do that, I need to add a base address. So let's do this as 1B. And we've added a whole host of buttons. So let's go into the configuration, into configure. We find that page and enable it, and let's call it scenes, and we'll go off. Let's go for, I don't know, day, night, and relaxed. There we go. And you can put bitmaps in, but again, that's something we're not doing that on this occasion. So let's mirror that to the machine readable name. So button 9 was day, button 10 was night, button 11 is relaxed, and button 12 is off. Okay, so now, and you'll notice that they've copied over to the buttons on here as well. So let's make life easy and copy the all off. So again, it's left-hand mouse button, click it on the one you want to take as your donor, drag it over the top of the destination, hold down the control key, and that will then give you that plus symbol. Let go of the mouse, not the control key, and it pops up with this option. Click on yes, job done. You've now got all the off actions. So let's set up a day scene, shall we? So I'm going to do it very simply. I'm going to go over pendant 1 and choose atmospheric dim value. I'm not going to bother setting anything at the moment for a very good reason. So just creating a uniform control. So there's 1, 2, where are we? Dim, and 3. Is it atmospheric dim? And 4, atmospheric dim. Right, so what I've done there is I've created the basis for a scene. Pressing that one button will influence all 4 of the lighting circuits. Okay, which is what you want to do when you want to create a scene. You might want some on, might want some off. But we want those scenes across everything. So now I've created a base. Let's just copy that button across to the next one. Yes. That one across to the third one. So now we've created 3 identical scenes which won't make any difference. And if I hover over one of these, you'll see it pops up and says dim to 50%, no time at all. Okay, and they will be all the same. So let's start building the scene. So we've highlighted the day button, and let's look at pendant number 1. Let's take pendant number 1 all the way up to 100%. Yeah, we definitely want that one. And for good measure, we'll have a nice 5-second fade time. Okay, pendant 2, we'll do the same thing, but this time, yeah, we'll have that as full, and I want, so that, bring that up straight away. Pendant number 3, and you'll notice where anything you edit goes to the bottom of the list, which just pushes everything else up. So just be careful of what you're clicking on. Pendant number 3, I don't need pendant number 3 during the day scene, so I'll put that to 0. And the downlight, I don't want that either. Okay, so that's my day scene set up. We've got these 2 pendants at full power. Pendant 3 and the downlight are going to be off. That done. So, oops, no, double clicked and single click. Right, so now I've highlighted the night button. I'm going to do the same thing. So let's look at pendant 1. We want that nice and dim. I want, say, 10% on there. And I want it to transition quite slowly. So let's give it a 10-second transition. What was that? 10%. Pendant 2. Pendant 2 I don't need on at all. So let's switch that off for the night. And that's going to dim down. But because we're going into a night mode, we'll do it just gently over 5 seconds. Pendant 3, we will bring that on for night mode and put that at 50% and take that for 10 seconds. And then the downlight, I just want the downlight on at full, and we want that to transition at about 10 seconds as well. Now, the relaxed one. Relaxed, everyone likes a good relaxed session. So let's go for pendant 1 being off. Ooh. Pendant 1 being off. And we'll do a nice 3-second transition. Pendant 2 I want off. And we'll do that over 3 seconds. Pendant 3, I want that to be about 25%. Where's that? Where's 25%? Just there. And we'll transition that over 5 seconds. And then the downlights, we'll just have them at a faint glow. I'm going to guess now, they did take a bit of time to come on, so I'm going to guess that we put them about 20, let's do 21%. I'll make a nice transition there as well. Okay, so we've now set up 3 scenes and an all off button. All we need to do is synchronize those. That'll synchronize the changes. You'll see it's writing to the edge-lit panel first because it needs to send the new bitmap and the name updates. And when it's sent that massive bitmap, it'll then update the 4DC as it's doing now. And that'll just update it with the button events. So let's have a look and see. No, not that one. That one. There we are. Right. Yeah. So we've still got the first page on and off, nothing too spectacular there. We'll go across to page 3 and we'll look for our day mode. So there you go, day mode is the first 2 coming on, third and the downlights are off. Let's have the night, and that makes a nice gentle transition there. And then we'll have the relaxed. That's a nice relaxed evening scene. And then our lovely all off. So that's it. There's something I can do with the edge-lit feedback, but I think that's for another video where we're specifically talking about feedback, and we'll be looking at how the edge-lit panels work. But for this session, you've created scenes, you've created toggles, we've created the dim at long press, toggle at short press. Stepping backwards in the video, we've looked at how these dimmers are wired in and how we removed the relay. So thank you very much indeed for watching yet another of the little videos. As I say, there will be more on the edge-lits and feedback LEDs and what they do, and there'll be the heating video coming up very soon. So the classic, don't forget to like and subscribe, share with your friends, tell all the people, tell your colleagues at work, newcomers, those that you want to just educate to the joys of Velbus. Point in this direction, and if you want to have any questions at all, please don't hesitate in asking. Put a comment below or send us an email, either via the Velbus website or through my own one, mdar.co.uk. Thanks for watching. See you next time.